Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. It makes my day so much brighter when you do that. Last week I sat down with Lisa and I said, okay, this is what I'm preaching on Sunday. She said, okay, but it doesn't follow. And I went, what? She said, well, I've started this series. Make connections with your community. And then the next Sunday was make connections with your fellowship. So she said that my job should be to make connections with the world. And I just looked at her and said, well, that's no pressure.
All right.
So, as I was in service last week, and we sang Rain Down, it suddenly dawned on me that the prayer of Jabez was actually asking God to rain down on him. Now, if you look at Chronicles, the first 9 chapters of Chronicles are begats. Okay? I didn't make Lynn read any of those names because they're really, really hard to pronounce.
Thank you.
Most of the time people pick up Chronicles and they go, begats, 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 begats. Okay, now I got something to read. In the middle of all of that, right smack in the middle of those 9 chapters, are these 2 verses. So he must have been not just an honorable man, but a very honorable man. For the writer to stop in the middle of this genealogy, because that's what that is the genealogy of the 12 tribes of Israel, to stop in the middle of this genealogy and go, here's this man. And he was an honorable man. He was more honorable than his brothers. And his name was Jabez. His mother named him that. Now that means pain. Have any of you met somebody who has one of those names that describes something and they become that something?
All right.
Okay, misery. Okay, he was miserable all her life. Okay, I always remember a boy named Sue. There was purpose behind that, so the kid would be tough. And those of you that are too young to know, it's a Johnny Cash song back from when I was much younger. Okay. But names are important to us. American Indians used to not tell you their real name.
All right.
They would tell you something else because there's power in a name.
All right.
So to call this small child Pain, we don't know why, but the mother named the child Pain. So immediately he had something to get over. Something to overcome. To not let it be his life. He became an honorable man. And in the middle of this really, really important document, it stops and says, Jabez was an honorable man, more honorable than his brother. And then he prays a short prayer. 4 little elements in the prayer. Not big, not hard to remember. Most of us don't even know it until somebody says, oh yeah, you remember that? Then we go, oh, I remember. This is the only time he's mentioned. He doesn't have any great history in here. He doesn't influence people like Moses does. He's not Paul. He's just this nondescript man who was honorable. That's the only thing we know about him. And his mother called him Pain.
All right.
When you talk about a name, it's what labels you. A rose is a rose. By any other name would be a rose. Well, I suppose that's partially true. But a human, one of us, by name, is important. I hear my name butchered so many times. I've been called, the funniest is Gaynell. We had a neighbor that I told repeatedly my name was Gaylene. I finally just gave up. Then we had friends over one day, and here she comes. Now, I'm going to tell you, she wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer. But here she comes, and she calls me Gaynell in front of me. And they started laughing. I said, don't worry about it. She thinks that's my name, I'm not worried. So sometimes the name is really important. But a name is your bond. It's who you are. It's how people know you.
Mm-hmm.
So here was a man named Pain who asked God 4 little things. And the first of those was to bless me. Now my translation says, bless me indeed. When a sentence ends with the word indeed, in Jabez's time, it's like standing up, jumping up and down, exclamation points. God, do you hear this? Indeed, bless me. Most people think to ask God to bless them is selfish. Well, that's being self-centered. Who would ask God to take care of them? We do every day.
All right.
Whether we mean it or whether we say it out loud or not. Every day we ask God to take care of us. And when we ask God to bless us, Matthew tells us that Jesus said, you have not because you ask not.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the only place. It's repeated over and over again. In the Old Testament and the New Testament. You have to ask what you want. My mother always said, I may be standing on your toe, but unless you tell me, I don't know. If you don't tell God what you want, He knows what you need, but He doesn't know what you want. You know, I guess He does, but He's waiting for you to ask. There's a story about a fellow named Mr. Jones. Passed away. Good and honorable man. Went to heaven, St. Peter showing him around. Okay. And the pearly gates, there's the streets with gold, everybody gets crowns with jewels. It's a wonderful, magnificent place. And off on the side in the distance is a warehouse. Well, the tour doesn't include that warehouse. Mr. Jones is a curious fellow. So he asked St. Peter what that building is. He said, it's a warehouse. You don't need to go over there. You probably don't want to go over there. Well, after a lot of coaxing and cajoling, and finally Peter's wits were in, and he said, okay, we'll go. So he takes him into this warehouse, a warehouse that you cannot see the other end of when you step through the door. And it's filled with rows and rows and rows, and shelves of these white boxes with red ribbons. And when he steps in, he can see immediately that there's a name on some of these. He said, what are these? Do I have one of these? I want to know what this is. It's a present. I want it. He said, you really don't want to open this. Peter tells Mr. Jones that he really doesn't want to do that. He says, oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. He said, all right, go find the box. So he runs over to the J section. He finds Mr. Jones with his name on it, and he pulls the box down, and he opens it up, and he looks inside, and he went, oh, my God. And he looks at St. Peter, and he said, what is all of this? He said, those are the blessings you didn't ask for. So the warehouse is regret.
All right.
We have all these blessings that God wants to rain down on us, and we don't ask for them.
All right.
We ask for things like, God, let me win the lottery. God, let me find a partner that's a billionaire.
All right.
God, fix this problem over here. God, take care of that. We don't ask God for the blessings that He's ready to pour out on us.
All right.
We ask God for the things that we want, the things that we don't need. Gee, God, I wish we had a building that was bigger than any other church in town, as big as what's Abba's house.
Come on.
We had thousands of members, and
Come
we had dozens of pastors. I wish we had all that. Does anybody ask for all of that?
Come on.
I don't know. I haven't. Why haven't I asked that? I'm going to fix that. We have not because we ask not. Now, the second thing that Jabez asked for was to expand his borders, or his territory. He is not talking about give me acres and acres of land. That's not what he's talking about. When he says expand my territory, expand my borders, he's talking about expand the influence that I have in the people around me to the glory of God.
Yes.
I don't need millions of dollars. If I have what I need to sustain myself, my most important mission at this point is to make sure that the person next to me has what they need.
Yes.
We expand our territories by this. We expand our territories with school supplies. We expand our territories when Sharon found Megan and the girls.
Mm-hmm.
We found her. She told us about her. We opened up our arms and we took the three of them into our hearts. We expanded our territory. Look at the three blessings that are sitting in this church right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the territory is. The territory is God's glory. And when you ask for more territory, there are responsibilities that go along with that. So sometimes it gets scary. Oh, God, I can't do that. I don't have training to do that. God doesn't always call those that are prepared, but He calls those He calls, He does prepare.
All right.
So maybe you aren't a public speaker. That doesn't mean you can't be on board.
All right.
Maybe you aren't a great cook. That doesn't mean you can't work on hospitality. It expands your territory. Not just the church's, but yours. You ever done something new that was really scary? Oh boy. Okay. For the life of me, I cannot figure out why you jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
Preach.
But there are people who think that that's a fun thing to do. Okay. For the life of me, I cannot figure out why I should put myself in a rope seat and zip across the countryside. Now that one I might too, but I'm not so sure about it. It's not that I'm afraid of heights, it's that sometimes good sense keeps me out of trouble.
All right.
I'm old, I'm brittle, I break easily. The territory that Jabez is talking about is not land. It's not things. It's not money. It's to expand the glory of God. That's what our job is. It amazes me when somebody says, oh, I can't do that, I don't know how. Have you tried?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't do that, I don't have the training. Have you thought about it? No, I can't do that because I'm not tall enough, I'm not short enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not fat enough, I'm not athletic enough, I don't look right, I don't have the right clothes. All these excuses are just excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Stepping off that edge, trusting that God will make sure that you do not fall into the abyss.
All right.
That's increasing our territory. This place here, we are in the position to increase our territory 10 times, 20 times, 100 times. There's no limit to what we can do here. We are the oldest. We are the most stable. And when you get right down to it, I don't care how affirming they are, they don't necessarily understand us.
Right.
There are so many things that happen in one of those affirming churches that don't happen here. So many things that happen here that do happen there. This should be our base. This should be where we expand our territory outward. Now, maybe eventually we touch the world. That's part of my sermon in Lisa's series, okay? We're going to establish community with the world. One person at a time.
All right. All right.
The person sits next to you at work, do they know that you're a Christian? The person that you sit down and have a break or a meal with, do they know you're a Christian? The person you're standing behind in the grocery store, do they know you're a Christian? Now, there's a lot of people that will tell you that the best way to be a Christian is to set a good example. That's all well and good. That's exactly what we should do. But if we're going to increase our territory, expand our boundaries, we got to be willing to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a scary thing to do. Know that God will make sure that you can do it. Moses didn't think he could lead the people out because he stuttered. Most people don't know that. It was a severe stutter too. It wasn't just stumbling over a word or two. That's the reason Aaron was with him.
Mm-hmm.
God said, you don't have to be a great orator. Go get your brother. He speaks good. Sometimes what we need is within our grasp, but we don't look for it. Now, the third thing that Jabez asked for was for God to put his hand on Jabez. Okay, and I'm using he as a non-gender term, simply because it comes out. I could say to put her hand on him. Okay? So we start expanding this territory and it gets scary, it gets overwhelming, and we're thinking, maybe I need to back up just a little bit. Maybe I need to slow down just a little bit. How would you feel if you walked in here by the end of the month and there were 100 people in this room?
All right.
If you're up front, would that be a little scary? Maybe. But at that point, more of you got to step up and help.
Right.
That's scary. Ooh, I can't can't do communion because I can't pray over people. Really? That's one of the easiest things I do in this building. It's much harder to put a schedule together than it is to put my hands on somebody and pray with them,
All right.
pray over them. And there are a lot of things that are a lot scarier than that. Well, I don't read very well, so I don't want to read. Okay, what else can we do?
Right.
Can you
Right.
usher? Can you acolyte? Andre acolytes. We haven't asked him to read or pray, but he does what he can.
Come on.
I may turn you into an usher. He says that. The next thing is that I'm going to get you a box so you can stand up here and read scripture. Okay? No, he doesn't want to do that either. For the time being, he's got a perfect job.
All right.
But when it gets scary, if God is with you, who can be against you?
Come on.
And most of the time when you get up in front of somebody, they don't want you to fail.
Right.
They want you to do good. You ever gone to a play with a relative in it or a friend and hoped that they would forget their lines? We don't do that to each other, do we?
Preach.
No. If that's your friend, you need to find a different group of people to run with.
Uh-huh.
Okay? With God's hands on us, when God reaches down and touches us, we can do anything.
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you to jump off any buildings and fly. You want to try it, sister? I'll go with you. Just remember, I'm old and I'm brittle and I break easily. Okay. With God with us, are we strong enough to do anything?
Mm-hmm.
Over and over again in the Old Testament. Every time there was a battle and they knew God was with them, they won.
Right.
Whether they were outnumbered or not. Thousands to one, they won. Because God was with them. God's hand was directing them. God's hand was leading them. And to be in that position where you know God's going to take care of things, that's not being strong. It's being dependent. It's being dependent on God's hand. It's relying on God's hand. It's knowing that no matter what you do, if it's to God's glory, God's going to help you get through it.
Yes. Yes.
Doesn't make any difference. Now I'm going to ask you, just for a second, to think really, really hard. Has there been a time that you know you felt God's hand on you?
Yes.
You're sure of it. You're positive of it. Did you handle what you faced?
Yes.
Did you get through it? Now, how hard was that? Well, it's scary to begin with. And there's a story about an author, a pastor, who was watching his young son on the playground. There were 3 slipper slides, a small, medium, and large. Well, he's 5 years old. He runs over, dashes right up the small one, slides down, does that 3 or 4 times, and then dashes to the middle one. He gets about halfway up and he hesitates just a little bit. Looks over at Dad. Dad's not watching him. So finally he thinks, okay, I gotta go. So he goes up, goes down. Ooh, that was fun. He does that 3 or 4 times. Then he gets to the big slide. And there was a teenage kid that was going down, a bigger kid, going down the slide in front of him. So he gets partway up that ladder and he just freezes. The kid behind him's going, let's go, come on, man, let's go. And Dad's watching him. And suddenly this little voice says, Daddy, help me. So he gets up, he reaches his son, pulls his son down off the ladder. The other kid goes on. And he and his son go up the ladder. And then they go down the slide. It was scary for the 5-year-old. It was way too scary for the 5-year-old. Who did he call on to help him? Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Father. The one that I know that will help me through anything that scares me. We're in the same position. It's not a reach for us to say, I need God to help me through this. Hey, we face all kinds of things that put us in that position. We face job problems, family problems, partner problems. All the time that we face something, all we have to do is to say, Daddy, help me. A little different. God, help me. But then we get so busy sometimes saying, God, help me, we forget to say, Thank you for the blessings.
Amen. That's right.
We get so busy worrying about these bad things that we forget to thank for what we've got.
All right.
Okay, my feet hit the ground this morning, or the floor. I'm here, I'm standing, I'm upright. There's a lot of people that aren't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fully fed. I have never suffered from the mystical cramps very often. God makes sure of that. We are each blessings. We are each blessings to each other and to this community. Each of you are a blessing to me. I hope in return that some way I'm a blessing to you. But sometimes just being there is the blessing. When you go through something that's really, really hard, you don't have to have somebody talk you through it, pray you through it, work you through it.
Come on.
Sometimes all you need is somebody there to know that you can reach out and touch somebody. Give me strength, and I'm going to get. There are not very many times that I've almost passed out. When they opened this up and I saw this finger for the first time, I almost passed out. Judy was probably 5 feet away. Boom! Right here. She's a blessing to me, not just every day, but almost minute to minute. But all of you are blessings to me as well. When my day's bad, I can stop and think, I know where it'll be good. I know it'll be good here. It doesn't make any difference whether there's one of us or 100 of us. I know when I'm here, my day will be good.
All right.
All I got to do is leave it in the car, all the bad things from work, all the people that need to be blessed. I can leave all of them in the car, and I can come in here and be safe and loved and blessed. Now, the fourth thing that Jabez asked for was to be kept from harm or protected from evil, however you want to say it. Okay? I'm going to tell you right now that if you are not facing trials, if we as a community are not facing barricades, we aren't doing anything right.
All right.
We are a threat to Satan. Okay? I don't care whether you call it Satan or evil spirits or whatever. If we aren't facing them, we aren't a worry to them. So we aren't doing something right. Okay? When your life gets complacent and everything's nice and easy and everything's comfortable and your life's just rocking along at a nice little even pace, you aren't scaring somebody that wants something scared.
Preach.
If everything's wonderful, who are you not threatening? The evil one. Whatever you want to call it, the evil one. And if you're not threatening the evil one, you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
All right. Come on.
You're coming in, you're sitting in a chair, and you're saying, okay, I'm at church, that makes me a Christian. That's almost as easy as saying, okay, I'm standing in the driveway, so I must be a car.
Mm-hmm.
It don't work that way. You come in here to be blessed. Okay? You come in here to be fed. You come in here to be with friends. What do you take out of here? That's where we expand our territory, is out of here. We are all in the territory. If we aren't bringing somebody else in, or if we aren't touching other people with God's glory,
Preach.
we are not doing what we're supposed to be doing. Now, I have a little experiment for us. Little. 4 things. 4 parts to the prayer. Bless me, expand my territory or borders, whatever you want to call it. Put your hand on me and protect me from the bad things, from evil, from Satan, whatever you want to call it. 4 things. Don't care how you say it. You can memorize the prayer of Jabez if that's what you want to do. You can make up your own if that's what you want to do. I want you to write it down on a piece of paper. I want you to put it somewhere where you're going to see it every day. Every day. In the bathroom, maybe on the inside of the medicine cabinet, so it doesn't get all welty and the ink all run together after you take your shower. Somewhere where you're going to see it every day. The mirror where you do your hair. For some of you, that isn't necessary. Put it somewhere where you're going to see it every day. Where you brush your teeth, where you wash your face, whatever. But put it somewhere where you see it every day. Read that prayer and mean that prayer every day.
Mm-hmm.
Do it for
All
a
right.
month. We're going to start with a month. Do it with a month. For a month. Every day, at least once a day, repeat your equivalent to the prayer of Jabez. And mean it. And let's see what happens.
All right.
In a month, will there be 60 people in here? Will we have doubled our numbers? In a month, will we have a large enough offering that we could offer someone a full-time pastor job or at least a part-time pastor's job? In a month, what would happen if God blesses us to expand our borders and to bless us indeed? Do it every day for a month. Don't make it something that, yeah, okay, I brush my teeth while I'm thinking about other things. Okay, think about the prayer of Jabez while you're brushing your teeth.
Right.
Every day, do it consistently, do it deliberately. Don't do it as, this is a chore I have to do every morning, just like brushing my teeth, combing my hair, washing my face. Tracy doesn't have to comb his hair, so we won't put that in there. I love you, Shiny. Bob didn't have to do much either when it comes to his hair. For a month, every day, do this. Do it in the morning when you start your day. Do it in the evening when you end the day. Sometime during the day, do this. And let's see what happens in a month. But don't just do it as a chore to do it. Do it because it's something that you need to do, you want to do. Do it as something that is a blessing to all of us. This territory in our community will expand. Your territory will expand. God doesn't expect you to live like a church mouse. Barely getting by, barely having clothes. God expects you to be blessed. All you have to do is to ask for those blessings. God expects to rain down on us those blessings. God expects that river to be flowing with blessings and for us to dive in. Not to stand at the edge going, ooh, it's cold. Not to be afraid that when you get into that water that you're going to drown.
Preach.
It's an act of faith to jump out of a plane with a parachute. To pull that cord and expect that thing to open up and then let you drift to earth. Do we have that much faith in God? I don't know. Do you have that much faith in God? I perpetually ask myself, do I have that much faith in God? Do I have that much faith? I don't know. I try. But then there's these evil things that get in my way. Oh, Gaylene, you're just not good enough to do that.
Come on. Come on.
Oh, Gaylene, just let me throw this barricade away. Oh, Gaylene, let's make this harder. Jabez didn't say, God, give me this. He just said, bless me indeed. Expand my borders. He trusted God to do what needed to be done. He trusted God to decide what needed to be done to bless him and what he needed to expand his borders. We need to ask for specific things.
All right.
All we need is to ask that God bless us. It's a powerful thing. A powerful thing. So ask God. For the next 30 days, every day, ask God. At least once. Do it twice if you want to. 3 times for good measure. But ask God to bless you. If you believe it, if you trust it, if you expect it to happen, our territory as a church, your territory as an individual will expand. Maybe not necessarily the way we want it to, but it will expand. Our influence will grow. What if Ken had never stepped out and written that letter to the editor? What if those of us who worked on the phone banks prior to August had not stepped out and done that? It's kind of a scary thing. Jonathan turned out to be the star. Would you expect Jonathan to do that? I didn't. He surprised me. He was blessed with something that I never expected from him. Wow, that's pretty cool. God will rain down on us blessings beyond compare. God will rain down on us such territory that we won't even be able to imagine what it would be. God will rain down on us strength and protection
Yes.
like we could never imagine. We will be able to do things that we could not even think we could consider. So for the next month, those 4 things in your prayer. Bless me indeed. Expand my borders. Keep your hand on me. And protect me from evil, from those bad things. Because God will rain down on you. God will rain down.
Amen.
Amen.